everybody. My name is Richard Garcia, and I'm a videographer and cinematographer, and I'm here to give you the very first episode of the Regal Watch Exchange watch series. In this watch series, we're going to go over everything from who owns a watch shop, how to start a watch shop, how to insure a watch shop, how to do inventory, daily operations, really, brought to you by the Stephen, Gray, and Patrick family. They're a duo. They've been doing it for over 20 years, father and son operation here in southern Utah. Las Vegas is just an hour away, and they've come down here from Salt Lake City to do their watches and fine Swiss timepieces here in southern Utah. You can find us at 1770 Red Cliffs Drive inside the St. George, Utah Mall. I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. You can definitely reach them at 801-376-TIME. That's 801-376-TIME. And tell us what you want to see as far as watches. Do you want to see the day-to-day inventory? Do you want to know more about them? We're going to show it all to you, but definitely stay interactive. If you love watches, I know you'll love this. Here's the first episode. Enjoy.
You know, just telling you how to buy a watch. If I want to be sophisticated about buying it and understand pricing,
yes, sir.
I want a watch that is in the best condition possible, but my biggest criteria is it has not been polished. And the way that I would check to see if a watch has been polished, I need super crisp edges, almost razor thin edges. I've got these razor thin edges, and the real way to tell for sure, Rolex has never been polished, or Rolex did the polish. There's between the satin finish here and the high polish finish here, you'll see a micro edge there of polish. Sorry, my fingernails are probably a little dirty. But long story short, if you're gonna buy a premium sports watch, highly recommend you only buy something that's unpolished with these perfect edges. As soon as somebody polishes it, sometimes a local jeweler will offer it to you for free. It will devalue the watch thousands of dollars. Lots of watches on Chrono 24, eBay, etc. They'll make it look brand new, but it's an excessively over-polished watch. If you took that to a dealer, they will devalue the watch significantly. So anything, if I grab even a few more of these, again, a nice unpolished watch. This is on the Datejust. Now some of them by model are a little bit more rounded, but you're still looking for that final edge. This is an unpolished watch. So even though that's a little bit different shape on the Datejust, I'm still going right to the edge. It's a little bit easier to see on the sports models. Let me grab one more, maybe. Again, this is actually when they did this. This is the new Air King. They actually used the Milgauss case, so it's super fat because it's a double case watch. But again, I'm going straight to the edges here on both sides and looking for super straight edges. Should never have rounding on any of this stuff. And again, if it's a sports watch, most of these sports watches are satin on the top, high polished on the side. So I'm looking again for that little teeny micro piece of polish. Where the satin bleeds into the high polish, I should have a little teeny edge there. If that edge is not there, that watch has been polished.
Incredible, honestly.
Positively know that something's new. This is actually pretty remarkable. But you can actually see if Rolex is now all the dealers now. They're asking the dealers, in fact, probably would fire you if you didn't do it, but they take the stickers off. But it's really, this is an unusual watch. This watch is a 2008 GMT ceramic. All the stickers are on it. So now we know it hasn't been polished because I can actually see the barcode on the watch. That used to be the easiest way to know a watch hadn't been messed with, is the sticker was still on it. You have to look very closely for Rolex stickers. On the clasp, it's a little bit easier because they use the red tags. But this is, like I said, fairly unusual to have a 15-year-old watch. This guy actually worked for Rolex of New York. And they gave it to him, but for whatever reason, he just decided to just put it aside. So it's been sitting for 15 years. But again, when you're looking for the GMTs, again, this one, like I said, it may look like fingerprints. That's actually plastic that's on there. But again, those edges are just absolutely flawless and perfect. So even if I've worn it for a year, What I don't want is somebody, and like local jewelers will ask you all the time, you want me to polish that for you as a service?
Definitely.
It's a disservice.
Definitely. It's incredible, honestly.
You know, Rolex actually, to get that finished, the Rolex that's got such a sophisticated operation to get those perfect finishes. I know very few people that could even come close to putting anything like that together locally.
It's gorgeous. What's the most expensive watch you've ever sold?
It was a black dial Patek. There was only 10 of them. That was a lot of zeros. I think that was, I'm trying to remember, I think it was model 2526, black enamel.
Did you sell that when the market went up?
No, that was years ago.
Years ago?
I don't know what that watch should do with today. There was 10 in the world. You know, there's people that sell like Richard Mille and stuff like that that are modern watches that sell for big bucks. But
definitely, most definitely.
As far as, but I don't, rarely do I come across a Richard Mille. But mostly it's just Rolex and Tudor, Breitling, Omega, IWC, Panerai.
Definitely.
And Patek, but not, wouldn't turn down Richard Mille, but it's probably not our local market.
How much does online sales play into your operation?
You know, I have been a wholesaler for the last 15 years, so it was my son that talked me into going retail.
Sure.
So we're on the learning curve right now. So right now, this store's been open for 4 days.
Okay.
It used to be I shipped to dealers. Now instead of shipping to dealers, I still, in fact, I'm putting together a package right now. I'm shipping out 6 or 7 watches to a dealer, but
incredible.
Now it's to put some watches here locally for retail. Not my son put together this operation.
Definitely.
But Patrick right here.
What's going on, brother?
He's my young son who said, "Dad, stop wholesaling. It's time for you to try retail."
Most definitely. Do you guys do consignment?
You know, normally since I've been wholesaling for so long, I've normally just been exclusively just buying. I'll buy 5 or 6 watches on Tuesday, all cash. Just meet them at the bank. But if it's a watch I cannot sell,
definitely,
then I will offer a consignment. Instead of just saying no, we try to work with everybody, but there are a few brands that are very difficult to sell.
Most definitely. I've just heard before on all these watch forums that obviously you guys are the business people, but to get, even if someone comes in looking at that watch, it drives them to other watches, you know. So to do consignment and have people bring in their watches, really it's like you're just making a minimal amount on that, but it really just bolsters your inventory.
Well, people bring in, there's 2 watches right here. In fact, these came in yesterday. I think this date just right there with the Roman, that was, someone just brought it to us and sold it to us yesterday. And then they had a 2-tone, I'm trying to remember which one it was. I think it was the one with the tapestry dial. It was that one right there, that second row in the middle. Both of those just came in, but the difference between, consignment means that we don't pay you until after we sell it. We know those 2, he just wanted to be paid. And that's probably about 99% of the time we just pay you.
Definitely. Makes sense.
But it wouldn't, if somebody has a watch, like I said, that's an unusual brand or something that's difficult, we may, instead of saying no, offer to sell it for them. But most of the stuff we just buy.
Makes sense, makes sense.
And like I said, then up here, that's gonna scroll here through for a minute, but most of this stuff, like that's a brand new, that's the last generation of the 2020 very collectible watches. But these would be, we show these pieces one at a time.
Makes sense.
For security. This one is an amazing watch. The story on this is the Rolex Hulk. They discontinued that the first week of September 2020. The Hulk was gone. That watch was purchased, edit that out.
No problem.
But that watch was purchased the very last week of 2020 before they ended production on that. It's the absolute last of the run. Watch has never been worn. It's got the receipt to prove the date. It's got the card to prove the date.
Definitely.
But the very, very last week of production and brand new.
Incredible.
That's a unicorn. Another unicorn. These are hard to get. Anything in these OPs and the bright colors. But another unicorn watch that we'll have is what they call the Daytona Pana.
Definitely.
The Pana dial. Pana is Italian for cream. In 2001, 2002, they had a defect, so the dials of the Daytonas went. But these are super nice vintage ones. These are all in polish with all complete sets with box and papers.
Incredible, honestly. And how many watches do you do a deal for at a time?
You know, well, I've been wholesaling for a long time, but it ebbs and flows. I mean, some weeks I can take in 10 or 15 watches. The next week I can take in 1 or 2. That's what everybody's biggest question is where do you source watches from? You know, it's not easy to get Rolex. It's much easier to sell Rolex than it is to get them. But again, this is the Coke. Box papers. If again, you look at those edges, nice, perfect edges.
Can you hold this camera, please?
Put some batteries in. Do you want me to hold the?
Yeah, hold it. Just because it's now it's stable.
Okay, I'll just take it off for you.
My apologies, thank you.
But again, you're looking.
Very crisp.
Nice on this one too. You can kind of tell this one's fading just a little bit pink on the bottom half. This one's a little bit darker. These are almost the same age. This one's just each one of these bezels, they're going to age a little bit differently. Sometimes these can go a really light pink. The ceramic ones, which is the brand new one, the ceramic will not fade. This is kind of the old school vintage Rolex, so the bezels will always be different.
Of course, of course.
But again, these are premium watches, all full sets, all box papers, unpolished.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind, yeah. I'll just kind of check this out here while you're doing that.
Incredible, honestly.
10 minutes.
That's okay.
Sounds great.
And this watch has probably bumped up about $5,000 in just the last 2 weeks.
So, the market. Now, what really drove up the market, in your opinion?
You know, I think Rolex did a 12.9% bump. There's speculation they're going to do another bump. And I think there's just the production problem. Rolex is a company like Patek and Audemars Piguet that they deal on a business model of scarcity, making things hard to get. And there's very few things that are harder to get right now than Rolex sport watches.
These watches photograph so well.
Those are all pretty watches.
They're beautiful.
Michael Strahan had one on the morning show.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm like, there's the Pepsi, that's what I want.
Did he do the ceramic one?
I couldn't tell.
It probably
I
was.
just told my wife, like, there it is. She goes, which one do you want? Like, well, Michael Strahan's wearing it right there.
It's good enough for Michael Strahan.
This is the one that one's.
Yeah, you know, I've got that in the ceramic and the non-ceramic. Now it's just taste, kind of like these, where you got like the old school, the metal ceramic bezel, or you can go the new, the modern, which is the ceramic.
And yours are all they're used?
Some of them are brand new.
Okay.
So we have a little bit of both. Most of the stuff in the stores is used.
I didn't know you were here, so it's...
Well, that's good. We've been here for 4 days.
Oh, good for
Yeah.
you. I've been looking at Rolexes forever. I got a couple tags, but it's supply and demand. They drive their own prices up.
You know what? It's an unusual business model to make
It's so interesting.
everybody else, like Breitling, that's just right behind you. That was a venture capitalist group that bought that a few years ago. Their whole goal was just to saturate the market and sell as many watches as possible.
Right.
But now it goes into gray markets where you can always get those for like 25, 30% off.
Right.
So people are waiting for a discount. You never see a sale on Rolex. You never see gray market on Rolex.
They limit their production.
Yeah. And they
Purposefully.
limit their dealers. If the dealer sneezes wrong, they'll take his account away.
I don't think they started that way, though. I think it almost feels like Rolex over the last few years has changed their business model a little bit. Like over the last 5 or 6 years, they've kind of really started tightening up the
I think you're right.
supply. I don't know. I just,
You know what?
It just feels that way.
It seems like genius marketing. I mean, if you look at watch technology, it hasn't changed in 100 years. So how do you stay relevant with old technology? I mean, essentially the technology is just, I'm selling typewriters here. Nothing's really changed.
But they've established a high-end name and brand.
Yeah, these are trophies. You walk into the business meeting and you've got the Rolex that nobody else can get.
You've arrived.
You're the alpha of that.
Oh, yeah. I did a marketing, in college, we studied Harley Davidson because they hadn't got into motorcycles yet. I'm dating myself, but they were just starting to go in, and they were in RVs and they were in vans, and they rebranded themselves and they made themselves the premier motorcycle with how they marketed. And
Marketing's a big deal,
it's a
isn't
big
it?
deal. So Rolex has done a fabulous job.
Yeah, and they seem to go counterintuitive to business. Everybody wants it, so make less. I mean, it's just the opposite of any
Supply
American.
and demand.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, there was a professor at Brigham Young University that he starts the class out with a box of pizza, and he starts selling it off slice by slice. So the first slice of pizza will go for like $3 or $4. Gets to the last slice of pizza, and it's like $10 or $12 because he's in a classroom with a couple hundred students. But he's like, that's it. There's no reason to even to have a business class. It's supply and demand. You just figure it out with this pizza.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I got one pizza and 200 students. I'm
wants
down
it?
to my last slice. Who's going to pay up?
Look at the housing market. Same thing, right?
Yeah,
Same thing.
big time.
So do you mind if I take a look what you have out?
Oh,
I don't
you
want to
bet.
interrupt your recording.
By all
No.
means, go for it.
You
Are you okay if he?
yeah.
He's doing a little YouTube thing.
Of course.
But these
So talk to me about these.
So well, this is the newest version. That's the 126710 BLRO, which is the Pepsi. That's the current model in the Rolex dealers. Of course, if they had one.
Is this a 40 or 41?
These are 40. The ones that went 41 were the brand new Submariners. These have always been 40 and still are.
They've
40.
already, okay. The Submariners will go.
They're just one. They're 1 millimeter in size. The real difference on those, they put a new movement in the new Submariners. One thing I like about the brand new Submariners is the clasp is a lot wider, so they are more comfortable to wear.
So
But side by side, they look almost the same.
The Scooch is like 42. So these are new or are these used?
Well, these are all pretty old. Most of these are about 20 years old. Each
Oh, really?
Of these, so they don't make these aluminum inserts anymore. So this model is what they call. This is the Pepsi and this is the Coke, but that's model 16710. That got discontinued about 2000. I think it was like 2005.
And do you have papers on them and you have boxes on them and all of it?
These are all complete sets. These are. If you want one that would to collect, these are all 3 great ones because you've got the box and the papers, and you've got the. They haven't been over polished. They're just 3 clean Rolex GMTs to choose from.
And what do you got them priced?
You know, these are going to probably be about the $14,000 range for each one of these. You could buy a beater one for less, but if you
Yeah.
want a clean one, most dealers would probably be a little bit higher than that if they were in this condition, full sets, box and papers. We're new, so being a little bit more
Yeah, you want to move some
competitive
product
right
now.
now. And I'm used to wholesaling too. That's one of the shifts I got to make.
Are they consignment then, or you own them?
I just buy them.
You buy them, okay.
That's what I've been doing for the last 15, 20 years. I've been a wholesaler. I'll buy the watches and then I just ship them out to dealers. My son, who you just saw, talked me into doing a store here in St. George. So, St. George.
Where are you from?
I'm from Salt Lake.
Okay,
See
alright.
the snow like everybody
Okay.
else.
Well, I hope you succeed.
Thank you.
So if I gave you 2 or 3 grand, would you do some sort of layaway for a certain period of time? Said, look, this needs to be paid off by X period?
That's a great question. I haven't explored that yet. You know, like I said, it's our 4th day. At this point, we haven't.
Like you said, hey, I'll give you 5 months or whatever. You got to make a monthly payment of X, and then it come due at this amount. I put 3 or 4 grand down.
I think the only reservation that I'd have is the Rolex prices of almost like the stock market as of late. if they went to your advantage or disadvantage, you may feel differently if you're getting it over time.
You know what I do? I just do a loan on myself.
This watch went from you could have bought that probably 2 weeks ago for about 20, 21. Now I'm seeing most of the dealers right now in the high 20s, even low 30s for it.
I do like these Cokes though, where you can't get them. That's kind of a cool thing too, right?
They're more unique,
Yeah.
because when you get that aluminum bezel insert, you can kind of see like they're even different colors, even though they're identical watches. One's faded to a little bit pinker.
I mean, I had my mind set up on the Pepsi, but
I think they're fun just because they age a little bit differently. The new ones are really designed not to really age. The really collectible stuff will have a patina or a faded, unusual dial that's changed over the years. Sometimes technology is so good now that these really aren't probably going to change too much, but we'll see. You know, in 20 years, maybe this is going to have a different dial
I'll
color.
convince my wife it's an investment.
Actually, you know, here's the sad part on that. I've been telling people for 2 years, don't do it. They're too high. You're buying at the top.
They've kind of set certain models, like that Hulk just continued. I can't believe that Hulk. And then that blue, whatever that blue one is, the blue and gold.
The
blue Submariner.
Submariner, yeah.
But it's the blue one. That one's like 25,000 too.
Yeah, I've got that. I've got a couple of those. There's the black old style of it, and then I've got the new style.
Do you have one used in the same kind of price range? Like 13, 14?
For the ceramic dial, I think I've got one for about 15. Ceramic dial just means that the new version with the ceramic dial. I've got that one, I think, for Let me check. I think it was about 14 or 15,000.
And then do you have anything like your best priced in this black submarine? I mean, I have a tag like
This is actually pretty cool. I probably should have brought that one out for his content, because that bezel's going blue. This actually one. These four right here are vintage. That's a 1987, and that's a model 16800. That was a transition year. They only made that model for a couple of years. But what I like about it is, and I don't know if it's picking up in here because we're so dark, but that bezel is more blue gray than black. Like if you look at that bezel right there on that submariner, that is black. But if you look at this one, especially in the light of day, very unusual for a bezel on a submariner to go blue. And the bluer it gets, really the more valuable it gets. That's why we kind of get in these aluminum inserts. They're fun. If they age properly, they add a lot of value and distinct. And you get a watch that nobody else has. You know, a blue bezel submariner most people would think it's not real. Like
that's right. Will they see that? No, that's fake. No.
Yeah, that's not possible.
No, then you have pictures of your papers that you just show on your phone, right?
Yeah.
Here it is. Oh, you just got that through.
And those that know can tell a factory Rolex. That is definitely a.
What do you have that one priced at?
That's 12,000. That's a little bit more expensive just because it's harder to get.
That's not a bad price.
Because you could get just a regular sub. I've got a couple of these. These would be just over 10.
That'd be just over 10.
Mm-hmm.
This looks so much like my tag, though. It's like, because my tag is, I've got the black.
Watch companies copy each other. There's probably 50 watches that look like a Submariner from different brands. But then we've got the ceramic version of that too in the back room. And then I've got the. In fact, it might be interesting content. I'll show you the two clasps together. That's one of the 6 on the 40 millimeter and the 41.
Okay.
Hey, Gov, I need you. Oh, you're doing his watch. I better not bug you.
Yeah, it's okay.
I forgot he's doing some work. But if you looked at the 41 they just changed this year, on the front, if you looked at them, unless you really have a great eye, they do have slightly different lugs and a few differences. But when you flip them over and you look at the clasp, the new 41 millimeter's got a really wide clasp, way more comfortable on the wrist.
So 2022 is going to be the year of the Rolex for me.
You know, it's going to be an interesting year is when they.
That's one of them. Like, not to put things on material things, but right, it's like I've talked about it forever, and it's like,
you know what? And if they sustain this pattern, like I said,
it's almost like a gun. You buy a gun, and it's like you never lose money on a gun.
Gun is a great way. Rolex having the right gun, but it's like art. If you buy the wrong art, it's not going to value at all. It's probably worthless. But it's buying the right Rolex too. Normally, if you can't go wrong with a Rolex stainless sport watch, you get into some of that precious. Metal with lots of diamonds and stuff like that. They don't always hold up.
I knew a guy years ago who started buying Rolex watches and had about 10 of them, and he started selling them off a few years ago and just made tons of money on them. And they started jacking them up.
Yeah.
And he bought them for that purpose. And I'm like, well, you nailed it.
I had a friend. I won't disclose, but most of you would have heard of him. But he just sold his whole collection for over $5 million. He'd been collecting for years and years and years, and just these prices were irresistible to him. He just thought, I can't.
So this one's
They're beautiful. What's that?
This one's all good. This one, your chronograph.
Yeah, you're right. And it just clicks on the inside.
Right, so you could either leave it running. I'm not super familiar with Nixon, I'm sure. I have replaced it on a couple Breitlings before.
That's the way it's been working before.
Okay. But your second hand is moving.
I hate that leather band. Do you guys have any bands for sale?
All we have is a little leather band.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have any like bracelets.
Okay.
But yeah, this guy's running fine. I can go ahead and set it for you if you want.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I knew this one was working that way.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sure there's a way that, like, if you looked up your Nixon manual, you could probably fix it.
So I'm gonna leave you my information because I pitched something to your dad. I said, if you guys are interested, he hasn't considered it. If you got a watch that maybe you're interested in having someone come in and put $3 or $4 grand down on Rolex, and then say, okay, we'll let you have 4 months or something paid off, right?
Right.
And then it's gonna come due.
Like finance.
Yeah. Not finance, just like a
But
layaway.
you gotta do that later.
Yeah, just a layaway.
Okay.
Because here's the bottom line: if I don't come in, you have the watch and have the cash.
That's true.
Right? What risk are you taking?
Right.
I'm taking all the risk. What if you go out of business?
He's the brain stuck in him.
All right, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed the first episode. Like I said, stay interactive with the channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you want to see watch-wise if you want to see they're heavy hitters, something ultra rare, just like and comment and subscribe, and we're gonna bring it to you. You can definitely reach them at 801-376-TIME. That's 801-376-TIME at 1770 Red Cliffs Drive, St. George, Utah. And you can always look at our website at regalwatchexchange.com and Regal Watch Exchange on Instagram. Definitely check those out. Inventory updated every week, and they always answer the phone. I hope you guys definitely come to the physical location if you're around. You won't be disappointed. Please, thank you, and God bless. See you in the next episode.